The United States government just officially cleared Anthropic to deploy Mythos and Fable, two AI models it had been restricting for months, and this approval could reshape how every AI company operates worldwide. Anthropic didn't just build these models and hope for the best. These were designed from the ground up with safety as a core feature, not an afterthought. Mythos and Fable represent a completely different approach to AI development, one where capability and safety move forward together instead of fighting each other. Think of it like this. For years, people assumed you had to choose between powerful AI and safe AI. You could have one or the other, but not both. Anthropic proved that assumption was wrong. They built models that are both genuinely capable and provably safe, and the government verified that claim. The approval process took months because this wasn't rubber stamping. Regulators actually studied the models, tested them, looked for failure modes, and basically asked, can these be weaponized or misused? The answer satisfied them. So the green light came through. Why does this matter to you? Because what Anthropic just pulled off isn't just a win for Anthropic. It's a blueprint. Every other AI company is watching this exact playbook right now. And whoever figures out how to satisfy government regulators fastest will own the next phase of AI dominance. Here's where it gets interesting. To understand why this approval is such a big deal, you need to know where Anthropic came from. Anthropic was founded by former OpenAI researchers who believed the industry needed a completely different approach to AI safety. Their whole philosophy: bake safety into the model from day one, not add it as a patch later. That's fundamentally different from how most companies operate. Mythos and Fable represent the maturation of that philosophy. They're not incremental updates. They're built on different architectures, different training approaches, and completely different safety mechanisms. Anthropic spent years getting them exactly right. Here's where government policy enters the story. As AI became more powerful, regulators started asking harder questions. Could a model be used for biological weapons research? Could it help someone break into critical infrastructure? Could it generate disinformation at scale? These questions led governments to restrict deployment of the most advanced models. Mythos and Fable were advanced enough to trigger this scrutiny. Anthropic couldn't just deploy them everywhere. The company had to wait for approval, a process that took months. Months where Anthropic couldn't capitalize on years of development work. Now the wait is finally over. And this signals something huge. Governments and AI companies are learning how to work together instead of against each other. The old model of build first, ask permission later, that era is ending. What's actually interesting is what Anthropic had to prove to get regulatory approval. So what exactly are Mythos and Fable? Let's break this down in plain English. Fable is the smaller, faster model. Think of it like a sports car built for agility. It's designed to be fast enough for real-time applications, customer service chatbots, interactive tools, things that need instant responses. But it doesn't sacrifice capability. Fable can still handle complex reasoning tasks. It's just optimized for speed. Mythos is bigger and more powerful. Imagine a truck, higher capacity, more nuance, better at handling really difficult problems. This is the model you'd use for research, analysis, content generation, or any task where depth matters more than split-second responses. What makes both of these models unusual is their approach to safety constraints. Most AI companies use post-processing. They train a model to be powerful, then bolt on safety measures afterward. That approach creates friction. The model wants to do something, but the safety filter blocks it, or the response feels forced. Anthropic approach is different. Mythos and Fable were trained with safety woven into the training process itself. The models naturally avoid harmful outputs because they were taught to do so from the beginning. That means they are safer and more useful, no conflicting goals between capability and safety. This dual nature, powerful but genuinely safe, is exactly what regulators wanted to see. It proved Anthropic's philosophy actually works in practice. Now let's talk about what you can actually do with these models now that they're approved for broader deployment. Fable opens up possibilities for real-time applications. A company could deploy Fable as a customer service assistant that actually understands context and nuance, not just pattern-matching canned responses, or as a coding assistant that helps developers debug faster, or as an educational tool that adapts to each student's learning style. The speed means these applications can run on regular infrastructure without needing massive GPU clusters. Mythos enables different kinds of work. Research institutions can use it to accelerate scientific discovery, parsing millions of papers, identifying connections, generating hypotheses. Companies can use it for strategic planning and market analysis. Content creators can use it for deep research and synthesis. The extra capability handles problems that would stump smaller models. But here's what's actually revolutionary. Both models can now be deployed by more companies. Before this approval, only the most established players with government relationships could build on the most advanced models. Now smaller startups and research institutions can access Mythos and Fable through Anthropic's API and build their own applications. That's how innovation accelerates. You stop gatekeeping capability and let thousands of creative builders use it. Some will build things nobody predicted. Some will build things that seem obvious in hindsight. We're about to see an explosion of applications built on top of these models. And that's when you find out if Anthropic's bet on safety actually pays off. How do Mythos and Fable stack up against OpenAI's GPT-4, Google's Gemini, and other advanced models? Raw capability-wise, they're genuinely competitive. OpenAI and Google might edge them out on some benchmarks, but that misses the actual point. What separates Mythos and Fable is their architecture philosophy. Most companies train for raw capability first, then bolt on safety measures afterward. Anthropic inverted that formula. Safety is baked in from the start. That means these models behave fundamentally differently under pressure. They're more predictable. Think of it like this. A race car and a truck can both get you from point A to point B, but they handle emergencies differently. You know exactly how the truck will respond. The race car might surprise you. For deployment at scale, predictability is worth more than raw speed. Government approval signals that regulators trust Anthropic's approach more than the alternatives. Not because these models are objectively better. OpenAI and Google models are world-class. It's because Anthropic proved their safety model actually works in real-world deployment. That creates a massive business advantage. Companies that want to deploy AI at scale without constant regulatory friction will prefer Anthropic. Not for capability, for operational freedom. This is where Anthropic's bet on safety first becomes a genuine competitive moat. And here's the bigger picture most people are missing. Other companies are watching this approval intently. They are seeing that the path to regulatory success isn't convince the government we are trustworthy. It's actually build trustworthy models from day one. This approval matters way beyond Anthropic. It reshapes how the entire AI industry will operate for years to come. First, it proves regulatory oversight doesn't automatically kill innovation. The old fear was that regulators would slow everything down, companies would flee to countries with fewer rules, and progress would die. Anthropic proved otherwise. You can satisfy regulators and move fast if you build responsibly from day one. Second, it reshapes the competitive landscape. Companies that built their models with safety as an afterthought are now at a disadvantage. Retrofitting safety is expensive and slow. Companies that design for regulatory approval from day one get the advantage. Third, it sets a new industry standard. Every AI company is now asking itself, do we need government approval for our models? The answer is increasingly yes. If that's the case, you'd better design for it from the start. Fourth, it's worth billions in market valuation. Investors value more than just capability. They value execution. Anthropic proved it can execute at the highest level with regulators. But the deepest implication is this: AI governance is fundamentally shifting. It's moving from companies do what they want then get regulated afterward to companies design for regulation from day one. That completely changes the game. It means the most important competitive advantage isn't raw model power anymore. It's the ability to deploy at scale without regulatory friction. Anthropic just won the first round of this entirely new game. If you're a developer or researcher, here's what you need to know about accessing Mythos and Fable. Anthropic offers these models through its API. You can start with a free tier that gives you enough tokens to experiment and test things out. If you're building something real, you move to a paid plan based on usage. The API documentation is solid. Anthropic has invested heavily in making it straightforward for developers to integrate these models. Fable is your choice for applications that need speed, customer service, real-time analysis, interactive tools, anything where latency matters. It's cheaper to run because it requires less compute. Mythos is for problems that need depth, research, complex analysis, detailed synthesis. It costs more, but the extra capability is worth it for the right use case. Here's the practical advice: start with Fable. It's faster and cheaper. If your application hits the limits of what Fable can do, migrate to Mythos. Most applications honestly won't need to make that jump. One thing to watch carefully: these models are approved for deployment, but that doesn't mean anything goes. The approval came with conditions. Don't try to use these models for biological weapons, industrial espionage, or mass disinformation. Regulators are watching. Companies that violate those implicit boundaries will get shut down fast. The era of move fast and break things in AI is ending. The companies that win now are the ones building responsibly, and Anthropic is showing everyone exactly what that looks like. Here's what you need to take away from this. The United States government's approval of Mythos and Fable isn't just a win for Anthropic. It's proof that the future of AI isn't chaotic and unregulated. It's structured. Governments and companies are learning to work together productively. That matters because it means companies that invested heavily in safety, companies like Anthropic, are going to have a genuine competitive advantage. Not we passed a security audit once. Genuine, sustained operational advantage. They can deploy at scale without constant regulatory friction. For you as a viewer, this means two things. First, if you're worried that AI is completely unregulated and heading toward disaster, you can take a breath. The systems are developing slower than Silicon Valley wanted, but they are developing responsibly. Second, if you're building anything with AI, watch what Anthropic is doing. Their approach is becoming the industry standard. The most important implication: this is what winning looks like in modern AI, not who builds the biggest model or the most shocking demo. Winning means building capability and safety in tandem, getting regulatory approval, and then deploying at scale without obstacles. Anthropic just showed the entire industry how to do exactly that. Follow for tomorrow's AI headlines. This industry moves faster than the news can keep up.